Welcome to Investigator News. I'm your host, Ellie. Boy, what a weekend. Hurricanes hitting Puerto Rico and heading towards Bermuda. Then we had earthquakes. We had a 7.6 hit Mexico. And Dutch Sense is putting a warning out for Northern California all the way to Washington. Uh, Me, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to bounce back and forth or if it's going to go up towards um, California with a lot of seismic shaking up in Alaska, or if it's going to go down to South America or bounce back over to like Indonesia or Papua New Guinea. Um, so if you want to know an in-depth report on the earthquakes, you'll have to go back and watch this morning's news. I just got done with it. So it was a long one. We did a big report on what's going on with Puerto Rico, the power outages, and also a big update on the earthquakes. I want to get right into Ukraine. Just no more lies. Uh, no more lies, media, because we got our own media on the ground. And Eva is heading or is in Donbass. So let's talk about what's been going on in Ukraine. U.S. forces have not been put on a high have been put on a high alert overnight, as Putin has a message for them in the West to get ready for all hell to break loose. That's not specifically the base, what he said. That's basically the message. He didn't say it in that kind of way, but basically get ready for all hell to break loose in Ukraine. We're going to basically, um, I want to go over the very latest out of Russia in a moment, but first, the massacre of innocent people that took place. They said, I believe it was over the weekend, that they have discovered these people. Uh, and it's a massacre of innocent people that took place. And this was in Donetsk. And in the People's Republic, the images are just beyond words. People are going about, it looks like they're, everybody doing their daily thing, and they're just down, face down, sometimes on their back, on the ground. But of course, this has been happening in Donbass for 8 years now. Now, we know about uh, this. You, boy, I tell you what, this has been going on in these states for 8, 9, 10 years. And this actually marks the 8th year anniversary of the start of the genocide in Donbass for the last 8 years. And who was it done by? Not by Russians, it was done by Ukraine. And now I have been telling you guys about this for a very long time, and I hope I don't get banned for this. Uh, but this has been happening. And if you watched our show for any length of time, you absolutely know that I've shown you um, and told you about the data. And I've told you when me and my brother did a show, and I'll talk about that a little bit further. Um, we have been watching Ukraine kill Russians and Ukrainian sympathizers since 2013, maybe earlier. What makes anybody think that it's going to stop? Now, Russians. Now, I'm not going to let Russians off the hook, because if they did do this, they need to be punished as well. We don't need to have this go back and forth of killing innocent civilians. Now, when me and my brother did a show on Hunter a few years ago, I uncovered the atrocities of the Ukraine military then. And I was saying back then they were wearing swastikas. You already know the truth. The evidence is really overwhelming, and it's irrefutable. And not only that, but 2014, the United States and Britain created a coup in Ukraine, and uh, this is all unfolded, and they installed a puppet NATO government. This is what uh, Putin is saying in Ukraine, and the ethnic Russians living in Donbass. And they don't like the government, they said. They don't like to be under the government created by the United States and NATO. We don't want to have anything to do with it because it's been known as Russian Spring. And that's part of Arab Spring. So the people in Donbass and Donetsk and a few of those that have already been taken by Russia, they have been rejoicing. They do not want to become Ukrainians. And, and then according to people that live there and that I've told you about, um, have come forward and said, we're Ukrainian, but our family, our friends are Russians, and they're going through and they're killing us too. Um, so the Russians living in Donbass said, no, thank you. We don't want your NATO government. We don't want a government that is led by an autocrat, and his name is Zelensky. You might have recognized him from his, oh boy, um, uh, from his characters that he plays when he was an actor. And that's what gets me with him as being an actor is, oh yeah, he could read a script very well. He can look into the camera and cry a cry. He could cry a tear. He could snivel, and it could all be acting. We don't know. And when asked, the and asked the people there by our reporters, they said they don't know. They think he's playing it, and and he's playing it pretty well with all the photo shoots and all the meets and greets and Zooms and meetings that he does. And then he walks through, they say, with his nose in the air like he's high and mighty. And then uh, after he does these little reports, then he shuts down the television stations. And he has opposed media. He's jailed political opponents. He's made journalists disappear. He's gotten filthy rich off, of course, thanks to the billions of dollars of NATO money, and has poured into his country from the United States over the years. In fact, the United States has been giving him millions and billions since 2008. Where's the money? They've detailed, of course, corruption within the government and how they've made it's listed one of many. They were listed. Get this: 2016, 17, 18, 19. They were listed as the most corrupt government in Europe, and all of this has been approved, and it's all known by the United States, NATO allies. Has been part of the plan, I think. In fact, it was all written down by Rand Corporation, um, and they're showing. We're starting to see leaked documents last week, and it was used. Um, they used Ukraine as a proxy to provoke Russia into war. So what you just heard is right. There is now documents coming out that this is all NATO, United States that has used Ukraine just to provoke Russia into what? A war. Well, the plan all along was with sanctions, NATO weapons, and it would weaken and destroy Russia. So what they did is they want to keep it going and keep it going and keep it going and keep it going. Why? So it slowly depletes the Russian military, not only the equipment, but the men. And this was never the plan of Russia. Uh, was it the plan of the human life? That we were supposed to lose all this human life? I don't think so. I don't think this was ever part of the plan. It was about the money. It's always about the money. It's always about the power. And who cares about the innocent people, right? When big money is at play, these guys do not care about innocent people at all. If so, since 2014, tens and thousands of innocent lives wiped out in Donbass, thanks to constant shelling that rained down from who? Ukraine. Did we care? No, no, we didn't. We didn't care one bit. And, as we looked at these areas have been going through constant bombings for 8 years or more. It goes all the way, like I said, it goes all the way back to 2008. That's 10, 15 years ago. And the constant bombing for this long, they are just done. Don Boss, they said they're done. They want Ukraine to go away. Not only that, but get this, they want to vote. They want the state to do a vote on, do they want Ukraine or do they want Russia? Uh, and there's all these statements that's being mentioned. Basically, um, they want to eliminate children because they could become grown-up Russians. Like that was the sentiment. This is what is being heard as they walk through their streets. They're hearing, well, yeah, we don't want those little teenagers, those little brats growing up, because they'll just come back to haunt us. Um, I don't doubt that one bit. I don't. If the people are saying it to Eva and our reporters on the ground, you have to kind of take heed to what we're hearing. And the question is, well, what does Russians say? And they said Russia is pretty much trying to help the people, get them away from these areas, get them to places where they could get food and medical attention. And I said, okay, so Ukraine's just coming in and what, blowing up the place, and then Russians are helping them. And she said, pretty much so. And of course, we've also seen the indoctrination camps for the region. And they fought tooth and nail against joining Ukraine, they said. And when the new government was installed for years, um, the government fought back and really hard to fought hard for the right of these citizens who never really did get to have uh, uh, their opinion on who should be running this state. And they were being accused of not being legitimate or fair or overwhelming. They were told they were people that uh, came from Russia into Donbass or Donetsk or those countries just to uh, get the support they wanted, and it would be Russia. And the people in this region do support a reintegration with Russia, just like many in Crimea. And they love it in Crimea. They said life is good. And of course, now they want to go after and liberate the Russian Ukrainians to Ukraine once again. They said they don't want this. They want them to go away. Uh, you know, the other thing is if you're in Ukraine and you show them your passport, and in these areas, they look and they ask you, do you have family members, friends, or neighbors that are Russian? And if your answer depends on if they let you go. Because if they are, then you're a sympathizer, which is basically you're a Russian and will be held a prisoner. So, and you get this, folks. You got to remember that these people have been mingling over there for decades. There is a lady that 2 blocks away, but it's in Ukraine now, Ukrainian territory. Her grandchildren that are Ukrainian, but she's a Russian. Should she be killed? Should the family be killed? There's a long story of history there, and it could be really simplistic if they would just leave the people alone. And but when people's ancestral home is in place and they've spent many generations there, why would you just up and move to another country? Because Ukraine's saying, well, go to Russia. Just go to Russia. You want to be a sympathizer, just go to Russia. Well, these people don't have the money just to uproot and move. Why would they? To another country or to um, hundreds of miles away when your car's been blown up is what a lot of them are saying. What do we walk? You know what NATO in the United States says. The illegals did it. Why can't you? It's not. it's not necessarily easy for everyone, and not everyone has the money. And these are mostly farmers. Do you just leave your farm? Do you just pick up your farm and just move? And are you going to have a guarantee to get another farm in Russia for nothing? Because they have to leave it. They're not going to make no money off of this. But that's not so easy for everyone. And um, and and not only that, but they want a referendum to join Russia. And this is basically what they're saying in Donbass. And the Republic following alonks is saying the same thing. They want the choice on uniting with Russia. And this afternoon, they say, the civic chamber of the next People's Republic called on their local leaders to hold a meeting to see what can be done. Um, and what if these people want to stay? What is Ukraine going to do? What is Ukraine, military, and Zelensky going to do? Are they going to make them surrender and become prisoners, or are they going to make them leave? Oh, they don't know, and that's why they're holding this meeting. And for a very long time, Donbass is Russia, and they've been fighting for this for 8 long years, they said, and they suffer daily strikes on our homes, on our streets, our hospitals, our schools, our preschools. And if you guys want to look at the images, follow Eva Bartlett, and she's on Twitter, she's on Facebook. Her name's Eva Bartlett, and she's our reporter that gives me all my info. And if you want to see the pictures, she's got pictures there for you to see, and they will change your life. You look at them and you see, um, uh, these poor people are just sick of being um, um, attacked every day. And the chances the West allows a fair choice on this isn't going to happen. They said it's going to take their leaders to be able to push this through. That they don't feel that the Ukrainian government is even going to listen to them. And they said, and they don't think they'll have a choice. They don't think they're going to get a people's referendum. And they say um, they are in living in Donetsk and now going to be a part of Russia, and they want to be a part of Russia. And these modern day choices, they say, uh, is not manipulated. It's something that um, they have been resisting the Ukrainian government for since 2008. And they do that because that's when the biggest brunt of the people went to their own government and said that they needed to be able to make the choice. But the media, if you listen to the media, oh, guess what? Ukraine is winning, and Ukraine is finding all these dead bodies, and Donbass is going to be taken over, and the people, we're going to give the people back Ukraine. They don't want it. They just don't want it. And this is what the media is going to do. And they're hurting them uh, because of this choice. And basically, them being want to be a part of Russia, Ukraine is basically saying these are ignorant people, and they don't understand that Russia's not hurting them. They're not being shelled by Russia. They're being shelled by people that say they want them, and it makes no sense to um, this this state that here they're being bombed by Ukraine, and Ukraine saying, "Yeah, we're going to save you," and Russia's trying to get them out of the way and get them shelter, and in the same time, here comes Ukraine to bomb them again. And they come back and their houses are gone, and they're going to save them, don't you know? Um, You know, I'm just, um, like I said, they're sick of being attacked. They're sick of all of um, the 8 years they said they were ashamed to say that they had family that were Russians. They were ashamed to even say, we like Russia. Because if you did, of course, you would be captured and put in prison. And you know what gets me is the genocide that was happening before 2018 that we knew about, and I haven't heard that Russia attacked Ukraine, um, um, or I should say, we didn't hear about Ukraine attacking Russia. We only heard that Russia attacked Ukraine and invaded it on the mainstream media. It was what they call it, an unprovoked attack, and that's all that they're saying. Well, we're seeing a stunning turn of events, um, and this is a um, um, there. I just say that the media is reading off cue cards at this time, folks, because they're not really telling you the truth. Because if it was um, so corrupt and they were just sitting there watching it as Ukraine was attacking Russia and chasing people to Crimea a few years ago, why didn't they do anything? Well, of course, that isn't one of their talking points. And the crazy thing is, Putin uh, they warned Ukraine, they warned Kiev, they warned Donbass and Donetsk and all of those. For 8 years, he warned them, saying he was going to do what he just did. He gave them plenty of warning. And they told them exactly what they should not do in order to prevent it, which they went ahead and did anyway. And I'm talking about the Minks report, folks. And it was signed by Zelensky. His little John Hancock is right there. It wasn't forged. Um, and all they're doing is just poking the bear. Right? Well, poking the bear would really be, um, I'm gonna say, drinking their vodka without approval. Um, you know, they have been going after them for many, 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 many years. And the reports that Ukraine ordered drone strikes on Crimea as recently as March of 21. Now think of how far that was. There was no live fire supposed to happen, no flyovers, nothing being, no military firing whatsoever. And of March of 2021, they did drone strikes on Russia and Crimea. So why? They just got through signing it into place, and here they were the ones making the strikes. And it wasn't until a year later that we seen Putin finally putting his foot down and saying, you know what, I'm done playing with you guys. Um, and so these are the things the Western media just don't want covered. Um, and they want to pretend that they don't see it happening. They want to pretend that the Minsk agreement is null and void. No, not when Zelensky signed it. Um, and the atrocities that was going on back then that they were trying to turn into the United Nations, but they turned a blind eye to them. And of course, Ukraine is going to turn off their media. Why? Because their reporters will be showing you the truth. So all media is banned. Um, and if you um, I want to get now in 2014, NATO-backed government, they agreed to leave the areas alone, and that was a plan that was signed. Okay, that was what Zelensky signed in. Now, granted, he didn't get into the later part of it, but he did sign it. Um, and they signed what at the time was known as the Minsk Agreement with Russia, that they would leave eastern Ukraine alone to live their lives. NATO wouldn't expand, and they would leave from Donbass or from Belarus all the way down that eastern side, all the way to the ports. They would let them have the one port, and they would share the gulfs of the waters. Um, and so they everybody agreed, everybody signed, and of course then we seen in 2018 where we started, or 16 to 18, we started seeing the strikes from Ukraine. Now they're not leaving them alone. And the first few lines of the Minsk agreement, uh, it's implementation of the Minsk Agreement number one, immediate and comprehensive ceasefire in certain areas of Donetsk, Luhansk regions of Ukraine, especially around the Donbass area all the way to Belarus, and is strict implementation starting on the 15th day of February 2015. Number two, the withdrawal. I'm reading you the Minsk agreement, folks. Number two, withdrawal of heavy weapons on both sides on equal distances in order to create a security zone at least 50 kilometers wide. So that means getting rid of artillery systems with calibers greater than 100 millimeters and more, all sorts of huge anti artillery weapons to be removed, and for the Ukraine troops to move back from this line of contact, so the people have the right to be left alone. They knew this was happening, folks. That's the Minsk agreement, folks. That right there should tell you they didn't do it. They kept firing on these people. They kept going door to door. They kept taking farms away. And how long since 2015 was Putin supposed to sit and watch this? I think he really did hold his temper very well for those years, and it was simple to follow. You know, it sounds great for the people of Donbass. They could live in peace, no more shelling, um, and they wouldn't have to deal with NATO, which they do not want NATO in there. And now they're launching this war, which is a violating of the Minsk agreements. And they started shelling the whole area. So immediately, this violated the Minsk agreements. And so, um, um, so this is why we keep hearing Putin talking about this, and he keeps saying you violated it, you violated it. Well, they don't want to look at it, and then they said no, it was null and void with Zelensky. No, Zelensky signed it, he said, and now he's showing the proof. Um, Boy, I hope you guys are I hope you guys are listening to this, because this could mean a change. And this is the documents that are starting to come out. And the people in Donetsk and Donbass said they want the original plan. And why can't the original plan be valued, is how they say it. And they said that now that they have come back in, they're doing it. They're bombing Ukrainian Russian people all over again after they just got through feeling protected. Um, so and you know, they said the pandemic did slow it down a little bit, but once Biden went into power, it went in with a fury. And they said now they have lost family members, they've lost husbands to them being yanked out and forced to be in the military to kill their own people. And they said they can't, and when they won't, they're sympathizers, and they're going to be put in prison. So even some of the men that have didn't want to volunteer but made to volunteer because they didn't want to shoot their family members, or maybe a cousin, or maybe an in-law, are now in prison because they refuse to fight. And see, they're not telling you about this. Where's the stupid media on this? Um, And so pretty much, I've told you, what's going on over there. And, you know, Putin at this stage, he just wants the shelling to stop. And I think that's why he's backed off a little bit to let the people roar, let the people be heard, let the people roar. Uh, that's a Helen Redding song. Uh, I can't remember what it is, but I just remember her saying about roaring. So uh, this is, um, you know, at this stage, when they've had enough, um, and which is basically they feel genocide. When 14,000 people are killed, um, and it's met by a German leader, Olaf Scholz, in January, told him with a straight face that ethnic Russian living in Donbass being killed, they were being killed daily. And he told it in front of a large television audience. And so that uh, and Putin called it genocide, and uh, and said in January that they didn't want a war, and they were almost, get this, according to the Ukrainians and Putin, but the Ukrainians are the ones backing it up. Zelensky was wanting to go about this with talks, not war. It wasn't till NATO and the United States moved in and enforced um, this that they decided to go along with the war. And they should be going by the Minsk agreement. And Putin does want the Minsk agreement back in force. Um, I don't want to keep going over this. The other thing is Nancy Pelosi over in Armenia. Um, and of course, over there, and we're kind of wondering why and what is she doing over there. Um, um, oh, um, she has so she went over there with a few of some Democrat delegates with her, and now we got Garland going over there for a meeting, as well as, get this, they're going to go to Pakistan too. So they're going to go to Pakistan, they're going to Armenia, and now Armenia is pretty much, again, boy, I tell you, folks, pretty much like Russians. They want to be part of the Russians, and now they're over. Here's Pelosi over in Armenia. So is Armenia next, or is Pakistan? Because we have Iran working with Pakistan now, and Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran is joining with Russia. So, it's going to be something to see over this next week or two with this military of what's going on. And I know me and William's going to have a big show tomorrow for all of this. Uh, I just want to be there. I just want there to be peace. Yeah. Um, uh, what do you guys think of this Minsk agreement? What's your view? Because we're the ones that's over there fighting Russia. It's not, I don't think the Ukrainians in those areas really do want to fight Russia. They're Russians. I think they want to be left alone. Now, mind you, they signed it in 2008. They signed it in 2010. They signed it in 2013 and 15. And then they signed a new one in 18. Now, how many times does Zelensky need to be shown? These people just want to live in peace. It sure makes you look at this a little different. It does. And I'm not. I don't want anybody to think I'm a Russian sympathizer. And let's not go there, because that's I keep getting this in my email that, oh, you're all for Russia. No, I'm for what the people want. Russia is brutal, folks. I mean, they have not been nice. They are a type of socialism. He does control the people. But if the people want to be with him and not Ukraine, then let the people go be with Putin. If they want to leave, let them leave. If they want to go, let's say they want to go to San Francisco, let them go to San Francisco. Um, but no, I'm not. I'm not all Putin crazy. Putin has done quite a few things over the decades that's just not very nice, and Russia is very brutal on their folks. So we are not Russian sympathizers. So I hope people aren't dis leaving going, oh my God, she's with Russia. No, I hope they stick around long enough to hear I'm not with Russia. So, boy, um, I didn't mean to spend that long, but it was a huge report that Eva sent. I mean, it was I'm going to say 5, 6 pages worth, and I had to grab as many notes as I could. And then I went back and listened to Redacted. They get the same info, and boy, they did a 2 hour, I think an hour and a half show on everything. So if you want to see, listen to Redacted and hear all of the details, go back and watch their show. Very nice people over there. So on with some of this other news, and boy, I was hoping I didn't go this long. Tesla catches fire and takes over 2,500 gallons of water, 42 minutes, and 8 firefighters to extinguish one car. Ah, no secret the electric cars have been susceptible to their lithium batteries catching fire. Um, what's increasingly is the calls to the fire department, and those blazes are hard to put out. And these are I guess, the Tesla cars. And this fire occurred last week, and it was in front of um, a restaurant, and the department normally uses a single hose, according to the department, but firefighters knew electric car fires require a lot more. So 2 hoses were used and aimed at the car. Um, and they used large amounts of fire water. Now, how much if they used the same amount? Because this is like 600 gallons per minute, and it took them 42 minutes to put the car out. A normal car fire takes 1 hose and 10 minutes. So that tells you how far this is and how long it took, and even to the point of where it melts the car. And when I read this, I said, "Whoa, wait a minute! It melts the car." And we know this is going on because I've told you about these cars catching on fire, catching garages on fire, catching other cars on fire. What got me was the lithium is what's burning hot. And when the lithium gets through, it melts the cars. Well, what happened in Paradise Fire? What that was so hot that it took 3 times the amount of fire retardant dropped on Paradise. It took the fire department twice as much, 3 times, sometimes 4 times, to put fires out with their hoses. Doesn't it sound the same? So how did Paradise end up with lithium all over? Was it an accident? Or see, this is how I'm looking at it, because if you're melting cars with lithium now with a Tesla car, what melted the cars in Paradise Fire? And what melted everything? I mean, a tree would be okay. Next to it, a car is melted, all the way to the ground. Or they couldn't get some of these buildings out. Some of the areas of trees they could, no matter how much they dropped on it, it was just sparking right back up. Well, now these Tesla batteries, or any of these EV batteries with the lithium, that's what's happening. The fire department puts it out, they leave, and they reignite. Now, I'm just questioning it, folks. I'm not saying that this happened in Paradise. I'm just looking at, whoa, something seems very familiar. So that's kind of why I pulled that today. Gavin Newsom, oh boy, what is Gavin Newsom going to vow to do this time? Uh, he vows to run for president, folks. But wait, only if Biden doesn't run. No, I think they're his secret. I think um, Newsom, they're going to try to use as a secret weapon. Don't look over at Newsom. Look at Biden, and he's not doing well. Why we pump up Pretty Boy here in California so he can be the next president. Oh boy. Um, Karen, what do you think of that with the lithium? I know you're in there, and I think Susan's still there. We don't have very many in chat today. Everybody's busy. Uh, the weather's too nice. I tell you, the weather's too nice. What do you think of that, though, Karen? Because you've been with me an awful long time, and we did the Paradise Fires, and I have friends that live there, and their house is melted. Their house is melted. They lost two cars that melted. And all the neighbors lost their cars. Um, all right. So anyway, so Gavin Newsom, I think he's going to run for president. I think he's just saying so that he can build himself up. Um, as Biden is saying, well, I might be president, I might not. His own wife don't even know. And the way they talk is they text each other and sitting in the same room. I guess he understands text better than talking. I don't know. I've never heard of such a thing. How many people text? Well, maybe as a joke, okay? How many people talk to their husbands and wives when they're sitting across the room from you? Do you guys text to communicate? I hope not, because that's pretty sad. All right, human composting is now a legal way in California, leading to the way of they call Soylent Green. It also comes, and it comes to mind because the 1973 movie, and I always say the Soylent Green trucks are going to come scoop us all up. It comes to mind because thanks to Biden's economic agenda, much of the dystopian ethnos of the world being baked into our everyday lives. The World Economic Forum keeps pushing new forms of insect protein on all of us. Uh, uh, Not only that, to take away all of our meat and turned into processing meat. And this is for the sake of our environment. And even our death traditions are now being reconstructed to fit uh, um, his own whims. Um, and he says, "You will own nothing. We're going to make sure you don't have a car payment, but you're not going to have a car. But if we take your car away, you still got to pay for it, you know. But you'll be happier that way. You pay for your car, you don't have a car, and you know what? You can ride a bike." He says. Um, and Now get this. He says it's wasteful and a pollutant to plant a headstone to memorialize your loved one, and not to mention it's selfish. What? What? No gravestone. So where are we going to know where our family's buried? This is the mind of Klaus Schwab, folks. And he said, everyone contribute to flourishing by composting your loved one's remains. Save the planet. Save some space. It's a new concept, he says. And guess what? DC loves the idea. The Democrats love this. And it's a righteous way to move to the next level. Um, and Guess what? California. Listen to this. This is don't puke, folks. Don't puke, Randy. There is traditionally two options for what you can do with a body after death: burial or cremation. California, third choice, will soon present itself to those who shuffle off this mortal coil. The choice is human composting. Well, I could get Karen. Hold on. I know you. I bet you're really doing the mean faces. I can't quite see the chat screen. Assembly Bill 351, signed by none other than Gavin Newsom on Sunday, will allow residents to choose human composting or natural organic reduction after the death, starting in 2027. The process of composting a cadaver, already legalized in Washington, Colorado and Oregon, involves placing the body in a reusable container, surrounding it with wood chips, and um, aerating to let the microbes and bacteria grow. After about a month, the remains will decompose and be fully transformed into the soil. And companies such as Recompost in Washington offer the service at Natural Organic Reduction Facility. Unlike cremation, the process avoids uh, the burning of fossil fuels and emissions of carbon monoxide, according to the National Geographic. And it estimates that cremations in the U.S. alone emit 360,000 metric tons of carbon monoxide a year. I called and asked our local crematory here. They said, "What? We've never heard of that." I said, "That's what it's saying." They said, "Well, he goes, they're stupid." I go, "Well, this is what the politician said." And he goes, "What'd I tell you?" I said, "Oh boy." So, hey, we can compost our loved ones. Soylent Green. Oh boy, Soylent Green. At least they're not eating. Well, and then if it says it's great for your vegetables. Oh boy, I don't even want to know. Don't puke, Randy. Ah, uh, oh, I'm so glad I don't live in California no more. Now, for Washington and Oregon and Colorado to fall for this stupidity, I cannot believe it. Um, Boy, this is a show to share, folks. This today of both my shows are ones to share. And you know what? You hadn't seen nothing yet, huh? Yeah, human composting. Oh my gosh. Um, yeah, and this was by Red State. And for those, they say, "Oh, come on, Ellie, you sure about this? You sure about this?" Well, I'm going to throw it up in the right there. Um, Composting is now legal in California, leading the way to Soylent Green. I just posted it in the chat. If not, go to Red State. It's there. You can find the article there at redstate.com. All right, onward. Oh boy. Where's William for this? He's in Washington. We need him to and him and his little dog to get the picket sign and say no composting, no composition, no Soylent Green. So oh boy, that's sickening. I'm sorry. Martha Vineyards claim it doesn't have the room for the migrants, but when they went and looked, and the fact checkers got them. They said that no, um, there is a haven of um, motels, hotels, the area, the uh, your bed and breakfast places, um, even auditoriums, and there's plenty of places they could have put them. And not only the great big old sign and that as you pull into town that says we welcome uh, all immigrants. We are a sanctuary state. Um, why not? Obama's rich. He could have gave him some money. That's about how I feel. So there goes Martha's Vineyard and their idea of which there's no room at the end. There's no room at the end. Um, Jihadists. Um, if our jihadists are the ones that's over there in Armenia fighting, and they have went through the city quickly, kind of. They have been doing violent rapes on women and girls. And get this, they are raping any of a female from the age of 4 to the age of 90. And not only that, but they're amputating. They're if people are said they're like women that are raping, says I know what you look like. They're gouging their eyes out. They're slaughtering Armenian women, and not only that, but even some of the men that tried to stop. They're committing atrocities in combat positions against servicemen, including women soldiers. Um, and these atrocities, which they are being emailed to every reporter they can find. Now, I heard about it from some of my own reporters, not Eva, but some of the other ones, where they're cutting people's fingers. Um, they're cutting their fingers off, and they're sticking them in their mouth so they don't scream. So if they're screaming while they're being raped, these jihadists, ISIS, Al Qaeda, all of them that do this. So they cut their fingers off and shove them in their throat so they can't scream. This is disturbing. It's diabolical, and they're worried about. Uh, um, they're worried about Russia. And now we got Pelosi in Armenia. What's she going to do about this? R, 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 Karen. I want to go over there and do something so bad. Uh, it just makes you want to go. It makes you want to call somebody. It makes you say this shouldn't be happening. And these, what about women soldiers? They're doing them worse than the average civilian. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. What is wrong with these people? Um, well, how about I tell you about Sarah Huckabee Sanders? Um, thyroid cancer surgery. She went well. Her father was on, I believe, Fox News show last night. I'm not sure which one. And said she's doing very well, and she'll be on the road to rallies in no time. Um, did you guys? I don't even want to get into 60 Minutes because it's all over the news. I mean, what a dodo head on both their parts. I'm going to say the 60-minute guy was a bigger dodo head because he didn't even know how to ask any questions. And then, um, uh, of course, we heard um, Biden say, "Oh well, we will defend Taiwan." And then what was it? What I've heard is uh, a few minutes later, 60-minute guy comes on and says, "Oh no, it's, the State Department and Defense," and they say, "No, no, no, he's wrong." Uh, you know what I think it is? Is he threatened them so he could let the public know, yeah, I'm all gung ho. And then the State Department goes, oh, no, 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 we don't mean it. We don't mean it. And so it's like, China, but we don't really mean it. And it's just a joke, haha, I think that's all it is anymore. I don't think that either, Jinping's got to be sitting there laughing his buns off. And what the heck is that government over there doing? You're going to threaten me, then take it back. And this isn't the first time. Get this. Uh, I don't know. I think it was PJ News that said they've done it 8 times now, since the beginning of this year. We're going to get you. No, we're not. We're going to get you. No, we're not. We're going to get you. No, we're not. What a yo-yo of government we have. Oh boy. So, the border and China and the Mexican cartels have declared war on us. Why? And because of America with fentanyl trafficking. They say, what's wrong with it? You guys want to do opioids, and you guys want to allow cocaine and heroin and meth and marijuana and all that, but you don't want fentanyl. So they are declaring war, according to the GOP. And they said that they now are going to push more through than they ever have. Boy, I tell you. The Biden administration on the student loan forgiveness, uh, they're saying it could be illegal now. What did he do? He said the pandemic's over. No, nobody's gonna get sick no more. Well, once he did that, then it nullifies that loan. And so he signed other things to be able to push it through, which they say is illegal. The student loan forgiveness now, because of his words, has now become illegal. Um, GOP, do something. You know, that's all we could do, folks. Is when this happens, and the GOP, they get on these talk shows and they're saying, "Oh, we're going to get them. Oh, yeah, we're going to do this paperwork and that paperwork." Then do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Yeah. uh, boy, Karen, boy, you're going to share this show. I bet this is a man. I had some good stuff here today. And it's almost where you just can't believe um, what's going on. And then we hear DHS, they're reporting that Venezuela is emptying their prisons out and they're getting them right to the border for us and they're sending them over. So how much is this done? You know, when we looked at Guatemala and we helped them and we got all the Guatemalans over here, all of a sudden we had MS-13. And come to find out, some of the MS-13 are telling people in Southern California, yeah, we were in jail. They just came and got us and threw us out. So is this what's going to happen with these countries that we're being nice to? They're going to now empty their prisons on us. So we get, no wonder our crime rate's up. How many, they're saying 80, I think it's 87 or 88% of the crimes committed against people in the United States right now are being done by an illegal or an illegal that has been here from even Obama days, that's been getting away with it all this time. Oh boy. So now we got prisoners, killers, rapists, robbers, who knows, coming over here from Venezuela. And thank you, Venezuela. Is that what Harris went down and talked to him about? Isn't this weird that she goes down there and she talks to him, and all of a sudden we get this huge influx from the country she went to, and now we're here and they're going to unload their prisons on us. And they're not even going to tell us who's a prisoner and who's not. They're just sending them this way and dropping them off. Oh boy. So, all right. Now you remember me telling you about the Johnson & Johnson baby powder, and there was some other powders and stuff with Johnson & Johnson that there was a recall on first, and then they totally said don't use it, do not use it. Well, Johnson & Johnson is blocking all the lawsuits against them uh, by 40,000 patients. Some are in class action lawsuits, but for the most part, they're being sued individually. Well, they're fighting them. They just don't want to pay it, they say. Oops, we made a mistake and it needs to be overlooked. Oh boy. Um, Soros-backed groups. This is his 237 foundations that are filled with, in between 100 to 4,000 protesters. Soros has just now turned them loose on us, said, go get them. And they're, of course, targeting MAGA people, those wearing MAGA hats, those wearing "Don't Tread on Me" shirts, anything that looks like it would be in support of Trump. These protesters are now going to go ahead and start attacking. Um, uh, Now, these electric vehicles, they're running out of battery cells. Get that. just when we heard about lithium, they're running out of battery cells, and they said they could be out within the year, and they're only able to do 2 or 3 a day because of the lithium and the cobalt and everything that goes uh, for these cars, not only for the steel, not only for the batteries, everything that has to do with these cars is all made with resources or materials that are we're going to basically we're going to run out of in about 10 years. So now Bosch warns electric vehicle industry is basically could be running out of batteries within a year. So even if your battery, something happens to it, you're not going to be able to replace it in your car. So boy, is the electric car falling apart. Keep your gas cars. Don't get rid of them, folks. Chuck Schumer is lobbying for another $12 billion for Ukraine aid to win the war. He said if 12 billion doesn't do it, he's willing to go higher. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Bound determined to win the war. Um, Now the other thing, the Biden administration, there has been now with the Native American, they had oil leased. They had oil leases and they had the casino leases, and this I knew about out in California. And so what they did is they have, just said no, nothing happens to you in your casinos. Well, now Biden administration is now sided against the Native Americans on a crackdown on their oil. Says they're not going to get they don't get to use it, they don't get to pump it, they're not going to get the leases to pump it. That they're going to have to find something else. Oh, and in fact, the what came out of my ladies from the White House, they're next. They're going to go after their casinos. That's their livelihood, folks. Granted, casinos aren't good, but that has pulled so many American Indians out of um, having drug issues or alcohol issues. This has made them to where their reservations became better. They became stronger. They started seeing hospitals and clinics, better schools. And now Biden is siding against them on everything as far as resources go. So he just turned on the American Indian. Er, boy, you boy. Um, um, oh boy, I think, boy, folks, I think I made it to the end. Any questions, any comments, folks? Put it. If if you're watching this, be angry. Put it down in the comments. You're flipping angry at what I've said today, because I know I am. I mean, when I was going over um, everything for the show today, I was just like, "Arr!" And yeah, I was flipping pins off my desk. Oh boy, I was shaking my mic. I was my grandson puts holes in my box that holds my mic up. I was ready to put holes in there myself. This is, oh boy. The American Indians is the one that was what is it, the frosting on the cake? Yeah. Um, because they have been done so wrong. And, they not only that, but he's not going to do anything about the freeloaders of the illegals that have now taken over parts of the reservation. They're just going to live there, they say. Well, it's not their property. It's not their, that's not, we gave that to them because of what all of us did. And, they should be more sympathetic, but they're not. They don't care. They don't care. They just don't care. And that's not the cartel. That is not our government. These are illegals, the families coming over and living on a reservation. And when they're said, no, you can't do this, they're saying, no, we're going to do it anyway. That is the voice of the illegal, not coming from our government or the cartels or any of that. This is coming from them. And look at how nasty and mean these people could be. Ooh, So, all right, folks, that is it for the day. And If you want to know about the earthquakes and the hurricanes, please go back and watch this morning's show. And I so love the support I get here. And you make it worth it every time I come in and I do stories like this for you guys. Um, uh, you, not just the earthquakes and the hurricanes, but the things in the news today. Tell me you're going to hear this on your local news. Tell me you're going to hear about the Indians. Tell me you're going to hear about Soylent Green of composting our dead loved ones. Tell me you're going to hear that on Fox News. You're definitely not going to hear it on CBS, NBC, none of them. And that's my main purpose every day. I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and I go through at least 10, 15 um, um, media sites to get you guys stories like this. So you know what's going on in the United States and around the world. Because who's going to tell you? Uh, Ellie will, because this is the stuff I want to know. And I know that if I want to know it, I know you guys will want to hear it too. So please subscribe, hit the bell, hit that like button. This is a good show today. Smash that like button over and over and over again. Let's show them that, Ellie knows what the people want and she knows what her viewers want to hear. So with that, uh, thank you very much. And we will be back tomorrow morning and hopefully uh, let's have better news. Well, news is never good. All right, and over in Facebook, hit your follow and your like, and uh, definitely see you tomorrow. Tomorrow, 3 shows. The big military report tomorrow night with William. So I hope you join us. And again, God bless every single one of you. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye, folks.